Extra special warning. Our hosts do no research and preparation for these movies. They are just two cynical douchebags. They think just because they have 10 years of bad TV under their belts, they are qualified to review these horrible movies.
Well, it's Tuesday again, YouTube viewers. Bird and Gutter here, once again with one of the worst movies on Netflix! And it is really truer than ever before, because in my mind, this is indeed the worst movie on Netflix. Yes. What is it, Bird?
Birdemic.
Shock and terror. You gotta make sure you add the colon shock and terror.
Which there was absolutely zero shock and terror.
And zero terror, yeah. But this movie has the worst filming, the worst sound,
the worst acting,
the worst acting, the worst CG effects,
the worst location picks,
the worst of everything. As of right now, this is the worst movie on Netflix.
Yes, this is now the worst movie on Netflix!
So in the beginning of this movie, absolutely nothing happens.
Nothing.
It's just a whole bunch of fucking driving and parking. Actually, this whole entire movie is a fuck ton of driving and parking. But it's about this douchebag that doesn't even know how to fucking walk.
What was the douchebag's name?
I don't remember.
Rod.
Okay, whatever. Rod could barely walk, let alone act.
Yeah, and they showed like 1,000 scenes of the fucker just walking. Like they're like, just get it. No! What are you... Really? That's how you walk, dude?
But Rod was a software designer or something, working for some company.
And he was selling shit.
That was later. The solar panels was later.
Solar panels.
He meets this girl that he went to school with, and she's a model. She's actually pretty hot. Yeah, she was definitely the best looking thing in this movie.
Oh yeah.
So he meets this girl, goes out.
I thought the birds, the CGI birds were the best thing ever.
What, the eagles?
And they just stood there in one place. They never moved or nothing. Holy balls.
Rod's company gets sold for like $1 billion. And he's independently wealthy. She becomes like a high-end model for Victoria's Secret or something.
But...
Yeah. So Rod and the model go out on a date and they talk about absolutely nothing we care about. It's a whole bunch of software stuff and a whole bunch of solar panel stuff and a whole bunch of crap.
And then she goes back home and talks to her Jabba the Hutt-sized mother.
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
She was like 90 years old, for God's sake. She looked like Honey Boo Boo Child's mother in like 50 years. Oh, that's wonderful, baby. Oh, you know, God, she was like a fucking Sasquatch. She had the jiggle arms too. You know, every time she'd move her arms, they were like blah, 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 blah. Wings. She had the wings on her arms.
And then they go on a second date in this bar, right? And in
this nightclub.
And in this bar, they're green screened dancing because you know it's some awful green screening.
The dancing is more or less.
Yeah, it was some awful dancing, but in the background, oh, this is stuck in my head way worse than Alice Cooper's Identity Crisis. Sometimes I'm Billy the Kid. No, see, way worse. There's this fucking dude, and he's singing, and it goes on for 15 minutes, it feels like.
He's like just Billy Ocean's retarded brother.
Hanging out with my family. And it goes on forever. And
Same line, it does not stop.
It just goes on, and it has really awful dancing and...
Oh, yes. White dancing. This movie. White dancing.
So after this horrible, horrible song date scene ends, they go back to a hotel... and get it on. And the chick has some pretty nice fucking panties on. Yeah, with her ass just all hanging out. But besides that, they fuck.
Yeah, but knowing this dude, Rod, it was a really awkward fuck.
Yeah, it would have had to have been. There was no passion or nothing in it. He's like, he doesn't even want to pull his pants down. He just wants to pull his dick through his dick hole of his pants.
He just zip it down.
He's like, do I have to take my pants off? Can I just pull my dick out the hole?
She's like, Rod, I didn't even touch you yet.
45 minutes this movie goes on and still no fucking Birdemic, no shock, and no terror.
They're all
the only shock and terror is
the acting.
Exactly, that's exactly what I was going to say. They wake up in the morning and bow! There's fucking fire, craptastic fire, and craptastic smoke all over the town.
Yeah, birds.
And birds just sit there hovering.
And the birds doing the fucking kamikazes coming down, hitting the town, blowing up. Yeah, I didn't know birds blew up, but
so they're in the
test that theory.
So they're in a hotel. They look out and they see a bird right outside their window. So they're like, oh! So they throw their mattress up, which they just fucked on. They throw it up against the window and the door.
Ew.
And then after hanging out in the hotel room because of the birdemic, they're like, fuck it, let's just go outside. They go outside and they find another room with people in it, which is Ramsey and his girlfriend. And Ramsey's supposed to be a badass.
Oh, yeah.
So they talk with Ramsey and his girl for a while, and they realize they have to get the fuck out of here. So they go to his van, which is loaded full of
guns.
Automatic weapons.
Big guns. Yeah.
Why? We don't fucking know.
Because Ramsey's a fucking badass.
So they...
And when you're a badass, you drive around a van with random fucking automatic weapons.
So they shoot at the birds, shittily, mind you. Bow! Bow, bow, bow! And... yeah. That's crazy. Yeah, it'd be like, bow, 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 bow. And you just see one bird go.
Yeah. I mean, he just blew up a full clip and one bird.
And they come across a boy and a girl kid. They save the boy and girl kid, and Ramsey's girl just happens to disappear for the next 15 minutes. She's not in the van, she's nowhere else.
Like magic.
But then,
Birdemic
15 minutes
magic.
later, poof, she's back in the movie again.
Yeah, I love how the kids are all calm, like, don't worry, kids. We'll protect your knowledge of mommy and your dad and your dad. And the kids are just like, yeah, what the fuck ever.
Yeah.
They didn't really care.
And as all this chaos is happening, the 5 birds that are flying around,
Bark!
cars and life in the background are just going on like everyday life.
Yeah. And, nobody else seems to notice this birdemic is taking place. And then on the news channel, I love it, they mentioned dolphins.
Yeah.
No mention of birds going crazy. Like, there was no lead up to this plot thing. There was no lead up to the birdemic. And in fact, if you watched the beginning of this film, you were just like, what the fuck is going on? Oh, now there's birds. Okay.
Yeah.
It just took some time. Now, I think it was Rod and supermodel chick fornicating is what brought upon the birdemic. Yeah. It's like when the two stupidest people on the planet fuck, that's when birdemic's going to happen.
Yeah. So Ramsey, his girl, Rod and his girl, and the 2 kids are just driving around, shooting some birds here and there out the window, and then they decide, since there are birds outside, we're gonna go to a fucking park.
And just have a good time.
Yeah, so they go to a park, and Ramsey's girl needs to take a poop. So she takes her pants off, starts to fucking squat, and a fucking bird goes, "Rah!" and slits her throat.
Yeah.
Ramsey's girl's dead.
Did not know birds could do that.
Yeah.
I'm looking out for them now.
That's what you get for going outside during a fucking birdemic.
It's like even the cast and crew and director forgot that they were making a said birdemic film. Because they were like, okay, we're going to shoot you guys at a park and have good times. And they're like, wait a minute. Wasn't the last scene we were just getting attacked by birds? Oh, yeah, that's right. Where's the fucking script at?
So the remaining Ramsey, Rod, and the supermodel and the 2 kids go to this gas station and have to buy gas for $100 a gallon. So they buy
That's what it's like now.
So they buy some gas and they drive and they start to get robbed by this big fat dude, which a bird comes down and slits his throat. And he fucking dies.
Yeah.
Then they meet up with this double-decker bus with these birds just in front of it hovering.
And these people just randomly sitting there going, hey, there's birds. Hey, birds. Yeah,
So Ramsey and them get out and they fucking shoot all the birds.
Without shooting the people, even though said birds were right in front of the people.
Yeah. So Ramsey goes into the bus, gets the people out of the bus. As soon as they come out of the bus, here comes birds. And kills them. And they die very slowly. They just, and then they lay on the ground, Yeah, it's like they had to be comfortable about it. No falling, no nothing, just. So after Ramsey's dead, it's just Rod's girl, and the 2 kids.
Yeah.
They go into the woods.
The kids are very calm
Yes.
for this whole situation.
And they meet a Crispin Glover-like hippie.
Yeah.
A creepy
Wow,
hippie.
with the worst wig I've ever seen.
And they just go on about green.
He looked kind of like Woody Harrelson's like brother who had autism.
We kind of glanced over the fact that this movie is all about being green and how it's our fault as people which have angered the Eagles.
I
And
guess that was the point they were
blah.
trying to cross.
But the hippie, they talk, blah, 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 and the hippie, they're like, come with us, hippie, and he's like, no, I can't. So he goes back into the woods.
Oh, but the best line ever. I hear a cougar. I better go.
Yes. Yes.
I hear a
about that.
cougar. I gotta go. What the fuck? I did my first thing out of my mouth. I'm like, dude, what the fuck are you talking about? That was my tummy growling.
So Rod and his crew walk out of the
Hot
woods
Rod.
where there are random flames just pasted onto trees with little puffs of smoke.
Yeah. Oh, it was terrible, dude.
This whole movie was fucking awful. So after they leave the woods, they're somehow trapped in the van, and the eagles are everywhere, and then doves come and save the day and chase the eagles off. And so the eagles start flying off over the ocean, and they fly for 10 fucking minutes. And there's
In
this
perfect unison.
yeah.
Yeah, this is all the way back, and they just keep going, and then
But they're not moving. They're really not moving forward. They're just
the best thing about it was before all this happened, Hot Rod and douchebag model were sitting there with the two kids who were like
on the beach,
whiny little bitches, and they were making seaweed with some fish and some water.
Because they had no food, no nothing.
Yeah, right. And the other people were flying kites and throwing beach balls back and forth. Not quite aware of the fucking
Birdemic.
But anyway, the kids were like, at some point, were like, we want Happy Meals.
We don't want to eat this crap. We want Happy Meals.
I'm like, don't you fucking get it? That was a fucking Birdemic. God damn it!
There are no Happy Meals anymore. Just sadness meals.
Shut the fuck up, you fuck! But no, he was just like, no, we will eat seaweed and this fish. Rod was a statue through this whole film. I've never seen anybody
and he
like
couldn't
that.
say words right at all. I mean, we can't say words right, but he couldn't say any of his fucking lines
There's a reason
right.
why we can't say words right. We're usually impaired. Like, solar panels. Solar panels. Solar panels.
So
he meant solar panels, but it was more like solar panels. Solar panels, solar panels, solar panels.
yes, there's a lot of talk of solar panels. So normally at this point, I would tell you to go on Netflix and watch that fucking movie. Not this time.
No, don't do this.
Unless.
Don't do this though.
No, unless you are going to buy the Rift Tracks MP3 to watch over Birdemic.
Yes,
Then do that.
That's well worth it.
Yes.
Go on rifftracks.com and buy that shit.
That was Birdemic. Next week, we have another awful fucking film where nothing really fucking happens. We're not done with it yet, but halfway through, still nothing really fucking happens.
I love it.
It's called Assault of the Sasquatch.
And unfortunately, I picked this one.
It's a dude in a rubber suit. And he's not assaulting anything except for our eyes and our ears.
Yes.
He's just walking around the town. But anyway, that's for next week. For Bird and Gutter, once again, this has been one of the worst movies on Netflix! Actually, it was the worst movie on Netflix.
It was. Brr, 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 brr. Hang it out. Hang it out.
Hanging out with my family.
Well, we're back again. It's Tuesday.
And then in the beginning, it showed 10 minutes of him driving. And it kept going. And then the music stopped, and the driving kept going. And then the music fucking kicked back on again, and the driving kept fucking going. Oh,
this is horrible. We need to point out that Rift Tracks beat us again to another film.
yeah, whatever.
But we did have the pleasure of going to see Rift Tracks when they did
Do this
Birdemic.
live, yeah.
Man,
it was pretty funny.
It was awesome.
But so, yeah, before we went to Birdemic, I watched it once before we went, and then we went, so we're like, fuck it. We need to review it now so we don't have to watch another horrible movie. We'll just watch this. We'll just rethink this horrible movie.
And it's hard not to forget that movie. There is no script.